Hi, this is Anna Imagination with The Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. This one, love, the value of love. This one is abstract, very abstract. There are so many concepts of what a relationship should look like according to Disney, according to society. And it's at a point where there is the norm, what the norm practices, as far as it's almost like, it is a formula. It's really a formula. You put yourself out there, usually on a dating app. You find someone with qualities that you like. You assess their physical appearance, which right off, immediately, you've set the stage for the wrong type of environment. Your entire relationship at that point is now based on physical attraction. And we do, our society 100% bases a relationship on your physical attraction, as if this is the most important thing. And in so many cases, a person assesses physical attraction and completely disregards the mental package, the ethical package. Oh my God, the ethical package. The ethical fucking package. I got to write this shit down. So you've got your ethical package, your mental package, and your physical package. And no one is talking about this shit. So you go in with a physical expectation and a desire. And you immediately plug into your body's emotions. This is so fucking stupid. Because your emotions are determined by the conditioning of your subconscious mind. So whatever emotions you feel based off of the way a person looks is going to be based solely on your mental illness. Yep, that's right. You are choosing someone based off of your mental illnesses. So it's your mental illness out there shopping for people based on how their bodies make you feel, make your own body feel. It's ridiculous. And this is where, when you get to a certain point in your growth, I'm going to remind you that the stages of perspective are stages of growth. That's what they are. This is work that was pulled from Dr. Graves in the 1970s. He produced the spiral dynamics, the stages of growth. That's all he called it. Stages of growth, spiral dynamics. And he put it out there in a couple essays. And traditional psychologists look at it and went, yeah, that's nice. And they literally shelved it and did no additional work with it. I created Triadic Healing and I did my path. And I got all the way to the very end. And then I stumbled a few weeks ago on Dr. Graves' essay. And I saw his 8 perspectives. And I went, oh, holy fuck. My Triadic Healing literally walks you through all of these stages without it actually calling this stuff perspective psychology, without actually naming the 8 perspectives. I just knew stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. It's the whole thing is just so funny. And so these are the stages of growth. And there's this mentality out there that when you get to the 4th perspective, you're done. As soon as you get to where everyone wants you to be, you're done. And there's no more growing required of you because you are now an adult. Dun, dun, dun. You are considered done by society and you never have to study or grow again. And that's not okay for a lot of us, but that's also okay for a lot of us. So suddenly adulthood is when people do go to college, it's with intent of, I want to make more money. It's not with intent to grow yourself. What you're actually growing is your ethics. That's really what it is. The stages of growth are actually you growing your ethics. Your ethics go through growth stages so that when you're an infant, You think the caregiver, your mother, is all there is. She is the be all end all. And then stage 2, around age 2, you realize, oh my God, I am an individual and I have purpose when I help out in the garden because that's my job. And this is the motivation for a 2-year-old because they're in the second perspective stage. When you realize taking out the garbage defines you, which is why 2-year-olds are so excited to help out. Their incompetence level is, it's cute. But 2-year-olds are all about, where do I fit in? I have purpose now. And for a 2-year-old, that's fantastic. But when you're 30 and you still have that mentality, and a lot of 30-year-olds still have that mentality. My brother is one of them. My brother is very much a second person. He is in a union, he has a union job, and his entire existence is defined by what he does for the community. Excuse me. So then you get to be 3 years old and you have an epiphany because you ethically grow. And you realize that you don't need the head of the household to tell you what to do. Oh, you can do that yourself. So you take the authority and you take your independence and you take your autonomy because you have discovered the self. And you decide to go Lord of the Flies on your parents' ass and you run around like a maniac. That is perspective 3. That is when you get into the no stage when you're 3 years old. No. It's because you are defining the self. Now, there is a lesson to be learned in this stage. And the lesson is there are rules that are designed to keep you safe. You might be walking all over everybody when you're 3, but people can also walk all over you. And the purpose is to let somebody walk all over the 3-year-old. Let them be their chaotic little selves. Keep them safe. But let them be their chaotic little selves. Set boundaries. But let them be their independent little selves. And eventually, within a year, they're going to get hurt enough that they realize, maybe I do need rules. But that's not what happens. Parents interfere, helicopter parents swoop in, try and disguise the child and deter the child. And they take the child out of the 3rd perspective and cram them into the 4th perspective before the child has learned the lesson. Boom, you have now a future narcissist. You have a human being now that's going to get to be 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 years old, and they never learned the lesson because the parent interfered with growth. The 4th perspective is when you do learn that, oh, and it's self-internalizing. It's not an outside source. It has to be self-internalized. We do not let our children internalize lessons. We just tell them. And then we get angry when they don't obey. Oh, this is such a fucking huge part of it. This is it right here. We have a lot of people out there just screaming rules at people, but they're not internalizing them. You don't get to go to the next stage until you internalize the lesson. So then you have 4th perspectives screaming all these rules at people. And no one's internalizing the lesson because they're not allowed to. And the message from the 4th perspective is there's laws and rules and everyone has to be fair and everyone has to follow the rules according to the 4th perspectives. But the rules for a white supremacist Republican male are going to be very different than an Indian culture or a Latino culture or a Black community. Very different rules. So majority rules wins. Now, because that's the mindset, everyone decides to, because everything's got to be rules, fit into the same beautiful little fitted box of what exactly should be categorized and what exactly a romance and a relationship should look like. So we have all these conformed boxed rules. You go online, you find somebody who's pretty, who's attracted, you go by their physical appearance. You pay no mind to the mental package you're getting. You completely ignore the ethical package because that's not even something you think about discussing until you get burned only 50 times. Then maybe you'll realize I should probably ask about their ethics. But the word ethic isn't even in our mainstream language. So no one thinks to ask, what are your ethics? What do you value? What do you prioritize in life? We don't even know what those questions are. The question you want is, do you prioritize growth or comfort? That's the first one. The other one is, where do you stand on the subject of the self and autonomy in relation to God, supreme being, in relationship to the archetype, in relationship to authority, in relationship to the community, in relationship to other people. By the way, this is philosophy. In relationship to the self, in relationship to the energy pool, in relationship to the environment. Where do you stand in relationship to all of these topics? None of that's discussed. So when you finally get to a certain point where you grow beyond all of this, and it's this beautiful thing where at the fifth perspective, you look at the society and you go, I question how you decide authority. And then you get to the sixth perspective and you're like, I question how you treat community and environment and animals. And then you get to seventh perspective and you say, I question what you think of God. I question how you think of the supreme being. And then you get to the eighth perspective and you go, I question how you do communication. I question how you do relationships. I question how you do, and by the way, the you here is the common man, the fourth perspective, the societal thinking. And that's really what you're doing. At the fifth perspective, you question it. At the first perspective, you aspire. Second perspective, you aspire. Third perspective, you're rogue. Fourth perspective, you become. Fifth perspective, you question. Sixth perspective, you question more. Seventh perspective, you really question now. Eighth perspective, you question it all. And you completely rebuild you and your world off of what you are. And what you end up with is something so drastically different that even a basic conversation doesn't work. I had another guy this morning try and hit on me. I'm getting better. It's definitely more precise. And because I have figured out social skills now, I'm going, all right, I know what I need to do. I asked him the same question. What's your purpose? Why are you reaching out? He used the whole lie. I just want to make friends. Friends is a lie. And sure enough, 2 sentences later, he made a comment about me being pretty. I fucking hate it when they use the word friendship as a lie to hide their actual intent. I said, nope, we don't do that. I'm not available. I'm not interested. And I blocked him. It is so mainstream for a man to lie using the word friend. And it tells me everything I need to know about his ethic. Friends do not comment about how fucking pretty a woman is. So I'm just, I had written this up yesterday. And then I had this massive shift and epiphany when I realized what kind of a relationship I have, what a relationship, what love looks like from the eighth perspective. And I poured my heart out into this, into my podcast yesterday, analyzing all the different aspects and angles on love and relationship. And I feel like it's exhausted. I looked into talking about polyamory, swingers. I have that coming up for my BDSM section. And I took a massive step back and I started working on the healing garden and the marketing. And it's the first time I'm working on the marketing without it actually feeling like marketing. It feels like it's just like information. Here you go. This is what's going on. This is what I do. And I'm putting together the design your own plan. So it's a quiz. So you can just answer questions, get through, and then it will custom design your healing garden plan so you see what it is you need. I love it. That should be up and running today. So I'll be able to say, go through the process, get your healing design plan, and you can see this is what your healing should entail. And if you can't check mark all of these buttons, you're missing something. If you are just doing meditation, if you are just doing healing, you are neglecting your ego's role and your subconscious mind's role. You are just focusing on your identity. If you are just doing traditional therapy, then you are, you'll see it. I'll put it out there. You can read through it. I have a lot to say on that. I don't want to get into that right now. Love is absolutely the core to who we are. And it's something I will say a million times over because it is so very true. Whenever we get into it, it is really downplayed. There's love, the state of being, and then there's love, the emotion. And love is not an emotion. Love is not an emotion. This is a lie. This is a societal lie. The reason why it's not an emotion is because emotions are temporary, they change, and they have purpose. Every emotion has a purpose, but not love. Love is different. Love is absolutely abstract and different. Love doesn't change. Emotions do. Emotions come in, have an emotion, say, oh, red alert, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and then they go away. Love doesn't do that. Love is not an emotion. Love is a state of being. And when you really process that love is a state of being and it's not an emotion, it changes the game. If you are feeling emotion over love, it's a red flag. That's actually fear. That's actually the emotion euphoria. And that's what a lot of people miss. They miss it. That love is the feeling that they call love, that they think is love, is actually the feeling euphoria because somebody has noticed you, because you're visible. Probably because your mother was a narcissist and or she ignored you because she was an empath and she spent more time focused on the narcissist than on you. So when you finally got attention, it was so, oh my God, someone's looking at me, that it gives you an adrenaline rush. And then we call that love. It's not love, it's visibility. It's euphoria for being seen. That's what that is. And then you become so, because you have scarcity mindset. I love the word mindset because I can see it in the cognitive brain, in the cognitive core. I can see exactly where it is in the cognitive core and goes, oh, a mindset, that's right there. Oh, that's a mindset, that's right there. And you have scarcity mindset, which is right here. And then you have, well, yeah, you have scarcity and abundance mindset over there. And then you have optimism, pessimism over there. And there's two mindsets that are literally embedded into the cognitive core. And whenever anyone talks about mindset, they are referring to either scarcity, abundance, or they are referring to optimism and pessimism, which is fear of rejection or fear of disappointment. And they're both right there. Those are your mindsets. It's interesting. It's absolutely interesting to me. I've wondered what would happen if ever I ran out of things to talk about. I don't think it will ever happen. Yeah, I don't see it ever happening. It's just a process of understanding who we are and where we are. I know what's going to happen. After I exhaust all topics, I will be bringing in guest appearances. That's what I'm going to be doing. I know this already. I already have it planned out that I will be having a guest speaker come in. But for now, this is the stage I'm at where it's just examining the self and introducing my theories, introducing everything that I do as far as my insight and how I feel about certain things. And I've got so many different branches here. I've got my light workers, and I have emotional classes that I'm going over with my class today. And one of them is love versus hate. And I speak to so many sixth perspectives who don't like the word hate. They really shy away from them. And the problem with that is it just means not aligned. When you love something, you're aligned to it. When you hate it, you're just not aligned to it. That's really what we say when we say I love or I hate something. If you don't like it, it's because it's not aligned to you. If you do like something, it is aligned to you, just a little bit though. So you have something that's really aligned to you, something that's kind of all right, it's aligned to you, and then you have something that's not really aligned to you, and then you have something that's really not aligned to you. And it's a spectrum, hate to love. Anger is the defense, when your defense wakes up and it goes to war because it's protecting you, and you should be using boundaries. And aggression and violence are not anger. That is the defense that people use when they fail to communicate. They think that communication is ineffective, when in fact it is far more effective, far more safe, far more respectful. Validation is everything. Self-validation, even more so, because it reaffirms. Validation is you being told you're right. But self-validation is realizing and gaining the confidence that you have your own ability to determine when something is right and true to your perspective, which is far more important than someone else confirming, oh no, you could, yeah, that's the right perspective. When we call up a friend and we say, I need some advice, this is what's going on, you already know the answer, but you doubt yourself, so you seek out the advice of a friend. I don't call friends for advice. I don't have friends for advice. That's something I've been through so many times with people. I'll talk to a doctor or something, and they'll be like, do you have a support group? And I'm like, I don't talk to anybody. And they're like, you don't talk to anybody about your problems? No. Well, you need to. Excuse you. Societal gaslighting. No, I do not. Well, how do I? I actually deal with my problem instead of dumping it on. I don't need somebody else to validate who and what I am. I can read my own perspective. I don't need anyone else to come in and tell me what they think the perspective is when I'm quite capable of figuring out my own perspective. That is really, really important to building your own confidence. Your ability to assess a situation properly, know that it is your perspective, and then defend it. That's it. And that is what is taken away from us. It's all built on love. It all just keeps coming back to love. What do you want? What do you love? What's aligned to you? What's your frequency? What's your song? And then going out and accumulating data to add to your song, to re-verify it, to validate it, to blow it up, to strengthen it. So you know even more so who and what you are. So your questions should always be, do I like it? Do I not like it? Or do I need to do research to figure out if it is for me or not? But if you're afraid to grow, and if you have fear of self and you have all these other fears, you're not going to define yourself. You're not going to step out and explore it. I feel myself calming down. I feel myself settling. I feel everything being turned down. Because the more I validate, the more I articulate, the more I define, the more I'm sharpening in and sharpening in on my center. It's like when you first start healing, you can't even see the center. And the more you talk and the more you overcome fear, the more it just shrinks down into this gorgeous bullseye. And now it is so refined in me that I know exactly who I am, what I am, where I belong. And everything around there, all confusion is gone. And now I'm working on social skills and people skills and peopling. And I'm starting to recognize, no, that's manipulation. No, that's a lie. No, and I'm able to categorize all that. Friendship is when you choose a relationship I don't know yet. I'm trying. I don't know. I said this to my partner yesterday. There is importance. There is value. And there is purpose. Those are the only three things that matter. I told him this. He is important to me. He is valuable. And the purpose? To celebrate my love, my identity. And likewise, my purpose in his life is he celebrates the things he enjoys. There's this, it's like you have a list of things you love, and a person has a list of things they love. And when you find somebody who matches your ethic and your mindset, and you value the same things, when you come together, it's like this magnificent celebration of the things you love. We celebrate love. That's purpose. And it doesn't, and I told him this, that for him, there's compersion. Our emotions are aligned. With a friendship, there's no aligned emotions. The connection isn't there yet. Yeah, I am exploring, examining, and studying the line between friend and something else. And the difference, really, if you draw a line right down the sand of what's the difference between friend and something more is compersion. Something more is when you are so aligned that you feel it, that you become it. There is so much. I'm just here to explore and figure out the crazy fucking place we live in. I think that's really all I'm trying to do is, like, I've got my defined self. I've got my relativity to everything else. Now I'm just trying to figure out where we all got it wrong. And where some of us are getting it right. For more shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel for even more shit like this. Subscribe to my amphitheater. And tonight I will have it available for you. So my next newsletter that goes out, you will be able to get your healing garden design plan. So you will be able to determine if your healing journey plan is filled out, balanced, and proper with a beginning and an end point. And you'll be able to, put together a healing plan that's literally designed for your needs, your goals, and your budget. Go ahead and take a look at that information down below. Subscribe to my amphitheater. And if you want to become a Healing Garden member, go ahead and take a look at that down below, and you will get access to literally everything the Healing Garden has to offer. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.